Throughout history, politicians have risen and fallen. Emperors, kings, presidents, dictators. But none of them, not one, has had the lasting influence of a single philosopher who lived 2,400 years ago, Plato. And here's the shocking truth. Plato may have been more dangerous than any politician who ever lived. Why? Because while politicians control laws and armies, Plato controlled something far more powerful: ideas. Politicians rule for years, maybe decades. Plato's ideas have ruled civilizations for centuries, and even today, whether you realize it or not, you are still living in the shadow of Plato's political philosophy. Plato wasn't just a thinker. He was obsessed with power: who should have it, who deserves it, and how it should be used. In his most famous work, The Republic, he designed a political system more radical and more terrifying than anything most politicians would ever dare to propose. Plato believed democracy, the system we praise today, was dangerous. Why? Because in a democracy, the masses vote. And the masses, Plato said, are ignorant, emotional, and easily manipulated. Sound familiar? Plato believed democracy always collapses into chaos, where clever politicians rise by telling people what they want to hear, and when the chaos reaches its peak, a tyrant seizes power. Now ask yourself, hasn't history proven Plato right over and over again? But Plato didn't just criticize. He offered his solution. The Philosopher King. Forget politicians chasing votes or kings chasing power. Plato wanted rulers who loved wisdom above everything else. People trained from childhood to resist corruption, to rise above selfishness, to think not about themselves, but about the good of the state. Sounds noble, right? But here's the dark twist. To achieve this, Plato's Republic demanded strict control over society. Families broken apart, censorship of poetry and art, soldiers and rulers banned from private wealth, every person molded to serve their role in the grand machine. This wasn't democracy. This wasn't freedom. This was total control in the name of justice. And that's why Plato wasn't just a philosopher. He was a revolutionary political engineer, one whose blueprints still haunt us today. Why call him dangerous? Because his ideas didn't stay on paper. For centuries, kings, emperors, and dictators studied Plato's writings. Some saw his vision of the Philosopher King as a justification for their own rule. Others used his criticisms of democracy to argue against giving people power. Even modern revolutions, communism, fascism, authoritarian regimes, echo with Plato's dream of a perfectly ordered state led by an elite few. Plato never commanded armies, but his philosophy has armed politicians with arguments for centuries. Arguments that shaped empires, toppled governments, and justified control. So why was Plato more dangerous than any politician? Because politicians die, but Plato's ideas live on. His vision of a society ruled by wisdom or by control still influences debates today. Every time we argue about democracy, education, justice, or leadership, Plato is in the room. He warned that democracy could destroy itself. He dreamed of leaders who rise above corruption. But he also designed a society so strict it could suffocate freedom. And that's what makes him dangerous. Plato shows us the brightest and darkest possibilities of human politics. Politicians come and go, but Plato's ideas remain eternal, shaping the world long after armies crumble and governments fall. So I'll leave you with a question. Is Plato's Republic a path to justice or a blueprint for tyranny? If this made you think differently about politics and philosophy, hit that like button. Let me know in the comments. Would you trust a Philosopher King to rule your world? And don't forget to subscribe for more journeys into the ideas that shape our lives.